Hello game fans! Now, Xbox is not really known for its child-friendly games. I mean, you think of shooters, you think of the AAA titles, but will somebody please think about the children? Well, don't worry game fans, because I'll think about the children, because I'm going to have a rundown of Xbox One games for children. So, the Xbox is not synonymous with child-friendliness. You know, it's had its fair share of like Lego games, and those kind of games have appealed to sort of the adults and the older generation as well as the children. But overall, the choices for the younger children and even toddlers have been very, very limited. I mean, Nintendo really has had this corner of the market covered. You know, they've always done very well in this kind of area, and children have always gone for the Nintendos. But really, with the Wii U having less than next generation graphics and a real handful of titles, you know, people are starting to move away from Nintendo and try and look for the other AAA, the bigger consoles to see if they can have a family machine. I mean, I know I have a couple of children myself, and I was hoping that getting an Xbox One with Kinect would mean that I could not only get the games for me, the Call of Duties, the Destinies, but also I could get smaller titles for the children which could use the Xbox Kinect. The iPad has shown both the industry and families that simple games that appeal to toddlers and young children is a growing and expanding market. I mean, Leapfrog has tried to sort of take on this and create their own little tablet, but they won't be as popular and haven't been as popular as the iPad and some of the Android devices. So people are trying to leap on this sort of toddler market because it is growing, you know, there is interest there. Now, I run a story on the Gaming Debug website, www.gamingdebug.com, a few months back, looking at some of the toddler-friendly games on the Xbox, or the Xbox 360, and I had struggled to find anything that really appealed to my two girls. I mean, I found things like Fireworks HD, I found the Aquarium HD, which weren't games as such, but my girls actually really enjoyed it because it gave them an introduction to the controller, because if you think about it, when we were smaller, then the Nintendo controller had 2 buttons or 4 buttons, and then it's grown over time, so we've grown with it. So a toddler coming into the Xbox or PlayStation market with these sort of 16-button controllers, it's a little bit daunting. So by looking at these older games, we could introduce them to the controller as a whole and then build them up. Now, the Kinect is going to be so good for these smaller children because it just allows them to move and react and have the game work around their movements, which is so much easier than trying to learn a 16-button controller. So with this in mind, I really wanted to look at some of the current known games, both on Kinect and on Xbox One, that are for children and toddlers. Here's my list.
Lego Marvel Superheroes. Lego brand games of recent times have never failed to disappoint. They are all pretty solid games with an overarching sense of fun. Although they are becoming all too frequent, don't let that fact stop you if you haven't played one in a while. This one promises more superheroes than you can shake a magical hammer at, boasting over 100 Marvel characters. These games work on so many levels that young children can get just as much fun out of them as their parents. Also, the 2-player co-op means that if your child is getting stuck or if they're struggling on a level or a puzzle, then it's easy for you to jump in and play without disrupting your child's enjoyment. Minecraft. Now, Minecraft is the Lego of the digital generation, and it is just as addictive. You and the family can lose hours building castles and shaping the world around you, chopping down trees and building all sorts, really. Up to 4 players can play simultaneously, and you can jump into other games quickly and easily. The best thing is that there's no real rules or quests or even an end game, so really it's as far as your creativity is willing to take you. However, for some small children, I would warn you that at night creepers come out and some violence is shown. Just Dance 2014. The latest iteration of this popular dance game has over 40 tracks to choose from and has Ubisoft as extremely excited due to the advanced motion tracking of the Kinect 2. This will be the first game able to track 6 players at one time, meaning children could have an entire dance party in their living room, so get your camcorders ready as hilarity is highly likely. This game does offer a battle mode which does have a competitive nature but no physical violence. Fantasia, Music Evolved. If you prefer the music by the likes of Vivaldi instead of One Direction, then it's definitely worth exploring Fantasia. This game mixes motion-controlled conducting with the exploration of a 3D world. Players can search and manipulate a colourful world filled with creatures that you can interact with before launching into both classical or modern tracks. With over 30 tracks and a remix mode, we're looking forward to seeing Harmonix's vision of music games on the Xbox One. Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, Kingdom Hearts 3 is obviously the third game in this loved RPG franchise, and it features an older Sora who sets off on an epic adventure with Mickey, Donald and the awesome Goofy through a slew of new and classic Disney worlds. This game has all the ingredients of a child-friendly game. Classic Disney characters with a strong RPG caliber behind it. The previous games were great, but the second one did get decidedly harder, so I hope that this latest iteration of the game addresses that balance and has a refocus on the children that hope to play it. The visual look is stunning, and if the story is anything like the previous game, then we are definitely in for a delight. I would say that there is some shadow creatures and some enemies in it that do need to be fought, so there is some violence. Kinect Sports Rivals. This one has had mixed reviews across the board, but I was very excited to hear about this one, not only because of the calibre of studio behind it, Rare, but also because it seems to be very inclusive of children. Every player can create their own superstar avatar and compete in a range of events from rock climbing to jet skiing. This has the making of a real family crowd pleaser, and if the game manages to balance the child versus adults, then it will be a lot of fun. I will say though that the rock climbing does show players pulling other players off the wall. There is no hitting of the ground, they just disappear, but it's definitely worth a warning. Zoo Tycoon mixes the strategy and thought of a simulation with the interactive third-person zookeeper mode, meaning that you can not only build a living, breathing zoo, but also see it come to life at a ground level. Whilst children might find it difficult to manage the building and running of the zoo, they are sure to enjoy all of the different sights that can be seen. There is over 100 animals available, and you can feed them, wash them, play with them, give them toys. And as the game can be controlled by both the controller and the Kinect, it means that the parent and child can work together to create a zoo that can be shared and enjoyed by others. Skylanders Swap Force. The Swap Force are a group of Skylanders who protected the volcano that supplied magic to the Skylands. However, a surprise eruption blasted them apart and gave them the ability to swap powers and body parts. This game is a third-person cartoon adventure where you mix and match your players to complete a series of fetch quests. What is different about this is that you need to put physical real-world toys on the power pad in order for them to show up in the game. This game is dangerous and yet so good. It's dangerous because it wants you to buy the physical toys in order to get the most out of it. As you quest, you'll find yourself winning weapons and items of clothing for team members you don't yet own. And then you'll be shown an advert for that team member in-game, making children sort of turn around and ask mummy and daddy to buy it for them. It's a really clever idea and annoying at the same time, but before long you will find that you have shelves of these figures all around your house. At the same time, the game is actually a lot of fun, and it's nice that these toy figures exist even if now they have digital counterparts as well. This game does have cartoon violence throughout, but it is in a very cutesy way. Skylanders Trap Team. Due out in October, this sequel to Swap Force sees you being able to collect and control the villains of the series, as well as use all your previous Skylanders. However, Trap Team goes even further than Swap Force in that instead of putting characters into the game from the physical world, you can now pull the villains out and trap them in an all-new power pad. Once you defeat an enemy, the little TV on the power pad shows the enemy being sucked out of the screen, and their voice comes out of the power pad, giving the illusion that you have them trapped. Like the other Skylanders games, this too has some violence. Shape Up. Shape Up mixes crazy minigames with exercise as players compete in a series of madcap activities, from push-ups with heavy virtual objects on your back to squat thrusting to the moon. The game uses real-time green screening to put you directly into the game, so you can see your likeness run, jump, thrust and push their way to victory. Whilst this game does look like a lot of fun, it'd be interesting to see the lag time between the real you and the digital you. Disney Infinity 2.0. After Skylanders earned over $1 billion, Disney was looking for some way to leverage its own wealth of characters. As such, they created Disney Infinity, a virtual toy box where real-world toys can be used to unlock games and playsets that can all be used in-game. Xbox One will see the version 2 appear in fall 2014, and you'll be able to use all of the version 1 characters in the toy box. But version 2 will also have the addition of the Marvel characters being added. So you'll have Elsa from Frozen play alongside Spider-Man. I'm really excited about this one, but at £10 to £15 per character it's going to be a very expensive hobby. A word of warning on this one is the characters do have the ability to shoot weapons at enemies. Max, the Curse of Brotherhood. This game was a surprise when it appeared on the Xbox Marketplace, and an even bigger surprise when it was given away for free for 2 months as part of the Microsoft Games with Gold initiative. Max, the Curse of Brotherhood is a 2D platforming game that sees young Max try and save his little brother from a strange world after using a spell he found on the internet to banish him from his bedroom. The characters are really sweet and the whole visual style looks beautiful. The violence from Max is minimal, but there is a number of difficult puzzle elements that might need an experienced gamer to help work through. Some of the monsters in the game do chase Max, but Max himself doesn't commit any real acts of violence. Child of Light. This game is worth getting just for the visuals, as it is a stunning piece of art where you play a fairy-like girl who floats around the level solving puzzles and battling monsters. However, these battles are fought in a classic RPG style, so neither player actually touch, only display animations when they strike or hit. The combat system is simple and well thought out, and although there are monsters in it, the hand-painted art style softens their effect greatly. The Lego Movie video game. This game follows Emmett on a quest to save the world with a myriad of over 90 random characters, including Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Green Ninja, Gandalf, Shakespeare, Cleopatra, and many more. If you're a huge fan of the movie, then this could be a lot of fun. However, the gaming press has suggested that the game graphics are not really up to par like the other LEGO games, and it does suffer from a number of small glitches.
Finish him!
If you want more, don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, or click the link for even more reviews.
Wake up, Chief. I need you.